The old man lives by the sea all year round. He lives on fishing. He goes to the beach before dawn to collect his nets. That day he caught a talking goldfish. The goldfish wanted the old man to release him, and promised to grant him any wish he had. The old man took the little goldfish to the beach. He told him to swim back to the sea. He didn't need anything. Then he went home. He told his wife what had happened today. When she heard that, she pointed to the wooden basin next to her and said, "At least ask him to give you a new one." At her suggestion, the old man went to the beach. He shouted 3 times like the goldfish said. When Princess Goldfish heard the old man's shouts, immediately jumped out of the water and swam to him. After listening to his description, the goldfish told the old man to go home. The wooden basin was already new. When the old man returned, he found his wife washing clothes in the new basin. He was surprised, but the wife was not happy. Instead, she scolded him, saying, "What's the use of replacing only this one? The tools in the house have been used for decades." Then she urged her husband, and asked the goldfish to give them a new house. The old man couldn't resist the old woman, so he had to go back to the goldfish, to ask the goldfish again to grant his wish. The goldfish understood their desire to live in a good house, so before the old man arrived home, he saw that the old wooden house was now a big, gorgeous house. The roof was carved with delicate patterns. It was a mansion they had never dreamed of, but his wife looked so dissatisfied, calling him a fool. Since the goldfish could provide such a house, why don't you ask him to make a bigger mansion, and let someone else take care of your food, clothing, and transportation from now on? Wouldn't it be better? The old man shook his head. He's not happy with his idea, but he had to listen to him. Go and look for the goldfish again. The waves were like an insatiable appetite. The waves were rolling in and out. The goldfish swam through the waves, and he got his wish. Under the waves, in the blink of an eye, turned into a golden castle, magnificent and glorious. The old woman was helped to her seat by a servant, and began to dress herself from head to toe, and the other servants in the house were busy selecting her gown. A skilled makeup artist, applying precious rouge and powder. After a few hours of dressing, the old woman looked in the mirror, and looked at the young servant next to her. She slammed the mirror on the floor. Then she came back and slapped her in the face. Then she went downstairs. The servants stood neatly on either side of the door to greet her. At that moment, the old man also returned to the door, but he didn't pay any attention to him because of his high status. Instead, he was angry with the footmen for not being pious enough. The old man tried to intercede for them. Instead, the old man was ordered to drive a carriage as her driver, to take her out and show him off. He took him out to show off his status. The farmer, who was herding cattle, saw such a luxurious trip. He stood up and bowed to them. When the carriage crossed a small bridge, and came to a fork in the road, the king was on his way. The old man braked and the old woman got out of the carriage. She knelt by the side of the road to let the king go first. The speeding carriage kicked up a cloud of dust. The old woman choked and coughed. Then she got back into the carriage in a rage. Then she told the old man he wanted to be the queen of this country, and make everyone submit to him. The old man was shocked, but as soon as he was ready to persuade him, the old man was slapped by the old woman. So the old man went back to the sea to complain to the goldfish, and said he hated his wife's insatiable greed. The goldfish comforted the old man. It must be the height of his desire. Then the goldfish helped the old man again, and the wife tasted the most delicious food. She watched a cockfight played by the tourists. She enjoyed the most luxurious life, but the old man couldn't look at his behavior. He decided to leave the palace, to live alone. Wife became the queen of the country, but it didn't take long. The old man grew tired of this life. He looked out to the sea in the distance. Then she looked down at the splash of the sea, thinking that if she could rule the whole sea, and take the place of the goldfish, then she could do whatever she wanted, and fulfill her every wish. The goldfish wants to remind her to stop this never-ending desire, but the old woman didn't realize it. She sent her minister to retrieve the old man as soon as possible, and after the old man was free from the wife's bondage, the old man began to roam around. Although he drank fresh water and soup every day, but he was satisfied with his simple and ordinary life. But this life was soon broken. The soldiers brought the old man to the palace. The high and mighty queen forced the old man to find the goldfish again, to fulfill her dream of becoming a sea king. So he went to the sea again against the wind. The sky was dark, and every now and then there was a flash of lightning and a clap of thunder. The old man begged the goldfish to stop her behavior. The goldfish sighed. Maybe she has nothing to lose. Then she could learn to be happy with what she had. Then the sea gradually regained its calmness, and the goldfish was gone for good. When the old man looked into the distance, he realized that the palace had been transformed into the same old wooden house. The old man lost everything because of his greed. The old man looked at his lost face. He shook his head happily and went home.